Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You are listening to an Unsociable Hour, and I am your host, Matthew Elliott. It has been a very long time since I've done this, and so this might be a little bit, new again. The last time I did this, it would have been probably about 4 or 5 months ago, so do forgive me if I ramble on. But importantly, I have somebody on with me tonight, a guest who is absolutely fantastic. She is multi-talented in many ways, and she is one of the coolest people that I have ever had the fortune to meet, but only online. We've not met in person yet, but I do look forward to a time when we can attend a gig or an event together. So please welcome my guest, Amanda De Feo.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me.
For coming on tonight.
Yes, this is exciting.
It is. It's lovely to have you on. The first thing that I really, really have to ask is, you're a parent, yes?
I'm a parent.
How the fuck do you do it?
How do I do it? Oh, I kind of get up every morning and just think, he's made it through the night again.
My God, I tend to find getting through the night. I tend to find getting through the night's okay. It's getting through the day. It's like, oh my God. Just how many times I've just kind of stood in one room just thinking, what the fuck am I doing?
Well, it's so difficult when they're little. I mean, I remember when we first brought our boy home, my son Jacob, who's 14 now, we brought him home, and his granddad, his dad's dad, brought us home from the hospital, and he came in and he had a cup of tea and we had a bit of cake and stuff like that. And then he left, and Jacob was in his Moses basket, and his dad came through and kind of just looked at me with these huge eyes. And I thought, shit, they let us take this kid home. Why have they let us do this? They've let us take a little human home, and now we've got to make sure that it stays alive. What do we do? But yeah, it's terrifying, and it's so hard at the beginning when they're little. I mean, he's 14 now. He just wants to sit in his pants and play video games and kind of grunts at me when he needs anything, which is much easier than when he was a baby. So it does get easier as they get older. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard being a parent, but I wouldn't change it for anything, really. So.
I know. It's one of those things where I feel like it really, you have to experience it to really understand. Because prior to back when I was a frivolous young man, when everybody would kind of tell me about the issues and everything that they faced, I was just kind of like, oh, that does not sound like a big deal. But what I figured out is that everything is a big deal because it's piled on top of every other little deal until such a time where, if the door doesn't get closed properly, you fly into an absolute bitch fit. It is mad. Yeah. But it's amazing as well. I mean, I was very much like you when we took my daughter home from the hospital. I remember sitting there and thinking, well, surely she's come with an instruction manual or something. There's got to be something, But no, it is absolutely mad. I mean, fortunately, my partner has other children as well, so I was able to kind of go, oh, you kind of know exactly how to do this, and then I was able to learn relatively easy, I think. But man, it's just
I've
chaos.
Just got one at home. I've just got the one kid. I always find it amazing when people have got more than one. I'm like, how do you manage that? Especially if it's like more than two. You've only got two hands. How do you hold them both? How do you deal with them both at the same time? And then there's like a third one coming at you. What do you do? One is more than enough for me. I'm just collecting cats now. So.
Oh, I imagine that's just as stressful, although albeit in a much different light. But no. Thank you for that. It's. The reason I said that is because I suddenly found, obviously back when I used to do this podcast, years ago, it was just as simple as being very leisurely, and I could take half an hour to an hour setting things up and having a nice, having a drink and stuff like this. And literally about 5 minutes before I logged on, I was trying to shoehorn all the kids into the room, going go. Don't come downstairs for whatever's wrong, I don't care. Just stay up there. But no, it's the whole perception changes. But right, so let's start this properly. I have some questions that I would like to ask you. They're very direct. You might feel uncomfortable. Are you ready?
It's fine.
This is a big one. What's your favourite colour?
Did you ask me something? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What is your favourite colour?
My favourite colour? My favourite colour is pink. It's pink, as you can see from my lovely picture, which the people that are listening to this aren't going to see. They're not going to see my lovely picture. But I've got lovely pink hair at the moment. It was yellow for a while. I was having a mental breakdown and went yellow, and it just didn't feel right. So I've gone back to pink. So
it looks very nice. And for anybody who's listening to this on audio, it is a very lovely head of hair.
Thank you very much.
The second question.
Yeah.
What's your favourite meal?
My favourite meal?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say my gran's spaghetti, because my granny's Italian and it was my favourite thing to eat when I was a kid growing up. And I do make it from time to time, but it'll never be the same as what she could make. She's not with us anymore, so we don't have any of her lovely spaghetti sauce in the world anymore. So I'd probably say that's my favourite meal. I do eat a lot of Japanese food now, though, funnily enough, kind of branching out from my usual deep fried food, being a Scot. So,
bless you. Oh, well, that's lovely. Your favourite alcoholic beverage?
Oh, I'm quite partial to a dark rum. I like a dark rum with Coke, and I also like a dark rum with ginger beer and lime. It's called a Dark and Stormy.
Yeah.
Do try it. It's very nice.
I have had one of those, I believe, in Glasgow at, I want to say it was called the Tap Room, but I don't think it's that. It was up on, I can't remember. I remember being in Glasgow. I absolutely love Scotland. I love Glasgow as well. And I was there, and I went through a period of, I hate mobile phones and stuff at the best of times, which I think I've made vocal a few times on this, but I decided I was going to an event which was taking place at the Hilton in Glasgow, and I decided that for that whole weekend I was just going to carry around a little Nokia 150 phone.
Right.
and because of that, I knew that there were certain places that I really wanted to go, but I had no GPS, I had no maps or anything. So I just decided to start talking to random people in the street and just say, "Excuse me, mate, can you tell me how to get to it?" Was probably one of the best nights of my life.
Excellent.
Because everybody looked at me, gone out like I was a piece of shit, because obviously they were like, "Oh, why don't you Google it, mate?" Or, "Oh, use your phone." And a few times I'd pull the phone out and people had just gone, "Fucking hell."
Excellent.
Loved it. Absolutely love it. But yes, I have had a Dark and Stormy. I'm a fan of rum too. What would be your favourite song all time?
Oh my God, what kind of a question is that to ask someone who loves music?
It can only be one.
One song for the rest of my life?
Forever.
Oh God.
This life and the next.
That has to be one of the hardest questions you can ever ask a person. It would depend on it would have to depend on my mood, I suppose. Sorry, it's a long pause. I'm not sure. It would depend on what kind of mood that I was in. So I'll give you a bit of a broken answer. Okay, so I would say song that kind of changed my life would be "All I Want" by The Offspring, because that was given to me on my friend Kevin from school gave me a mixtape when I was 14, and the first song on that mixtape was "All I Want" by The Offspring. And I didn't get past that song. I just rewound it and listened to it again and rewound it and listened to it again over and over and over. And then at the end of that week, I went and cut all my hair off and dyed it purple. And thus began my era of being a punk, kind of not giving a shit at school. So I'd probably say that's a very, very important song for me. The song that probably I really love Eva Cassidy's version of Fields of Gold, because it was one of my grand's favourite songs and it was played at her funeral. So it's a song that I kind of hold very dearly. And if it does play, I will have a little cry. So I'd probably say those two songs. But favourite song of all time, I don't think I could answer that, really. There's too many.
That is totally understandable. I'm quite happy with the answers you've given. I appreciate that somebody in your position, which we will obviously get to later on, I imagine that's a very difficult question. Mm-hmm. So I will ask you a follow-up, which is, what is your current favourite album? So maybe not necessarily your favourite album of all time, but just something you've listened to recently that you think, wow, that is a great album of right now.
Okay, so I'd probably go for an Offspring album again. Ixnay on the Ombre has got to be one of my favourite albums of all time. It's a great record, and it's just every song on it I'll listen to, and it just reminds me of being a really pissed off, annoying 14-year-old who thought they kind of knew everything. And I loved listening to that on my little tape deck and thinking that I was the first person in the world that had ever really listened to angry music. So I'd probably say Ixnay is one of my favourite albums of all time.
Fantastic. Love that. Right. So that is that. And the final question before we get started is going to be, what's your favourite day of the week?
Favourite day of the week? Saturday, because I get to have a skate lesson on a Saturday morning.
Excellent. And for anybody that doesn't know, please tell us about the skating.
I'm a roller skater. I'm a born again adult roller skater. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll get to see all my ridiculous videos of me prancing about on skates. So it's jolly good fun. I really enjoy it. It makes me smile, and I'm keeping fit while I do it. So if you've not had a go at skating, I recommend it.
That is awesome. And for anybody, before we move on, please mention what your Instagram is.
Sorry, what?
Just let the audience know what your Instagram is.
My influences?
No, sorry, your Instagram.
My Instagram, Just Panda. I'm just Panda 28. Sorry, it's a bit of a bad line here. I do apologise. I knew I should have put my earphones in. I couldn't get them to work, could I?
Don't worry at all. It's probably at my end, to be fair. So, to anybody, it's Just Panda 28?
Just Panda 28, yeah.
Check her out, because her Instagram is full of so many cool photos and videos and stuff. I must say, to anybody that doesn't follow Amanda on social media, before we get into kind of more about her, I absolutely adored the videos that you would put up of ducks when you were walking to work. Your duck videos are just fantastic, so enjoyable.
I've done many duck videos recently, because I think the current cohort of ducks that we've got tend to behave themselves a bit more. The ones that we had during the first lockdown were right swines. They were always giving me anxiety by running onto the road and stuff. So there's lots of videos on my Facebook and my Instagram of me chasing ducks about on the road and directing traffic like a crazy person. So I like to think that I've saved some ducks' lives.
It is definitely my favourite thing on social media.
Oh, thank you.
Right, so let's get into it. Amanda, First question that I really, really want to ask you is how you would describe yourself and what you do within the Japanese music community.
Within what?
Within the Japanese music community.
Oh, within the music community, the Japanese music community. I mean, I'd like to think that I'm someone who's fairly well known in the UK now. I'm quite active online, and I like to promote a lot of bands and a lot of idols, and try to get the community kind of more involved with one another and kind of like pushing the music and stuff that's coming out of Japan. It's a really, really nice community that we've got here in the UK. Everybody kind of knows one another. So even though I've not kind of been in the community a long time, I do kind of think that I've got a big enough gob that everybody kind of knows me now.
You have done so much to kind of bring the community together that it's absolutely fantastic. So please tell us about Beyond Senpai.
Yeah, so Beyond Senpai. Beyond Senpai was started by myself and Tom, who a lot of you know. We started Senpai back in 2020, just as we were going into the first lockdown. And Beyond Senpai kind of came out of a dark place for us, from the previous online Japanese music blog that no one's allowed to speak about. When that suddenly came to an end, and myself and Tom kind of felt like we wanted to continue doing that kind of stuff, kind of writing reviews and writing blog posts, and really kind of evolved from that and wanting to kind of get other members of the community involved, because there had been other people who had contacted us and said, "Oh, I really like that article that you did for the He Who Shall Not Be Named, and how did you get about to doing that? How did you do that?" And there are a lot of really creative people in the Japanese music community in the UK and in Europe, and it just kind of felt like there needed to be somewhere for people to kind of be creative. So that's kind of where Beyond Senpai came from. And then about a year later, we were joined by Kelly, who you used to work with on blogs and podcasts and stuff. And she's just such a fab writer. I love Kelly's writing. She's so talented, and I could read her stuff forever. So it's kind of the three of us just now. We've had lots of guest writers, and we've done lots of blogs, and we've done lots of reviews, and we've interviewed quite a few idols and bands and stuff, which is really kind of cool. And I'd like to think that everyone in the UK and Europe kind of likes what we do. So yeah, Beyond Senpai, go and follow us.
That is awesome. And Beyond Senpai is one of the best, I cannot stress this enough, it is one of the best outlets for news and reviews and stuff of Japanese music to exist, and the staff and everybody involved is so passionate and really cares about it. And that is, I know that the people I know who don't listen to Japanese music but listen to this podcast, I am always kind of, they accuse me of very much hyping up the community at the cost of other things, but it's difficult for people to kind of understand how insanely amazing the community is as well, because obviously most people just think, oh, bunch of nerds and stuff like this, and you kind of have to go, well, no, not really, because how you care about this, to the degree that you do, they care about that, but the difference is that it's a community unlike any other community that I've been a part of. So obviously you've spoken about how Beyond Senpai kind of came out, and it came out during the first lockdown. That's amazing. I tend to feel like a lot of great ideas came out of such a dark time.
Yeah. I think the thing is me and Tom had worked with He Who Shall Not Be Named for a while, for quite a few months before it all kind of went to shit and Senpai was kind of born out of it. And there had been many, many conversations with this person about, this is how we could make things better. Let's do things this way. Why don't we try this? And we just kept getting this whole, no, we don't need to do that. We're not getting paid for this. We don't have to do it that way. We just need to get content out there. It's like he wouldn't even buy a mic. Like, he wanted to do videos and stuff, and it's like he wouldn't even buy a mic. He was like recording shit off of an old phone, and we were like trying to do stuff online, and he was recording it off an old phone, and we were like, just buy a damn mic. But it's like, 20 quid off of Amazon. Do you know what I mean? No, we're not doing that. We don't get paid for this. We're not professionals. And it's like, yeah, do you know what? We're not professional journalists. We don't get paid for this. But do you know what? Whatever we put out, make sure that we're putting out the best damn stuff that we can. People should be able to understand what we're saying. I want to be able to them to hear what we're saying if we're doing online stuff. I want the stuff that we write to be of good quality. And it was just such a fight all the time with this person in regards to that. I found it very, very frustrating, and I can really understand why he spent so many years working on his own and nobody else wanted to work with him, because he was just a gigantic pain in the arse. So yeah, we just we went into Senpai basically saying, we're not going to be one of these blogs that just puts out content for the sake of putting out content. If we're busy with life, if work's taking over, if shit's happening and we can't put stuff out, we don't put stuff out. Do you know what I mean? We've all got lives. We've got busy lives. And quite rightly so. We can't put something like this that's meant to be a pastime above our own personal lives. And we both myself and Tom, we had that mutual understanding that this is meant to be fun. And we don't want it to not be fun, because we're just constantly trying to churn out content. And one of the things that I didn't want to be is I didn't want to be a gossip channel. I didn't want to be one of these kind of webzines that just kind of put out gossip about idols and bands and stuff. So we've kind of tried to avoid that where possible, because I don't think it's helpful. I just think it kind of causes trouble. And I don't think the artists and the management in Japan see kindly on that. I don't think they want to deal with foreign outlets that want to talk about gossip and stuff. So I'm kind of glad that we've stayed away from that. But I think everything that we've done so far with Senpai has been really positive. We've had a really good response. We've got good followers on Twitter. We've got people who reach out to us now that saying, "Oh, can we work with you? Can we do an interview?" And I think that's really cool. I think the most exciting one that we got was when Lady Beard emailed us and said, "Oh, hey, your name's been passed on to us. Do you want to interview us? I've got a new project coming out." And then at the bottom signed Richard, and I'm like, the hell? He's signed his proper name, aka Lady Beard. And I was like, messaging Tom, "Oh my God, have you seen the Senpai mail? We've got a message from Lady Beard." It was like the most exciting thing. It was like, we've arrived. We finally arrived. Someone's contacted us for an interview off their own back. We've not had to hassle them.
Oh, that is amazing. And but that is an absolute testament to the quality of your work, and to kind of take it back a step. I know that you've said kind of like projects in the past have not quite worked out because of different. I think the problem is that obviously when you work as a collective, it can be very difficult to kind of juggle everybody's expectations, and every single person on the team can obviously have different views and different opinions. When it comes to things like professionalism, I always think that that's a very difficult thing, because I think that everybody can be professional very easily by being professional and by kind of showing an element of understanding for other people. If you work as a collective, you kind of have to take everybody's feelings into account, or, of
course,
which I would believe would be very standard. But I think the fact that you've now found yourself in a position where you've got this group and this team together who are so passionate about what they do and are very, very talented, but extremely talented. You all are. I think it's amazing. No, mate, you've done the work, not me. I think it's very, very humbling and very nice to kind of see that despite all of that professionalism, despite how all the hard work that goes into it, ultimately, you are all human and life does get in the way. And so it's nice to know that ultimately it's about quality, not quantity. And life will always come first, because that does get in the way. In terms of, as I was wanting to say, in terms of artists actually reaching out and, you guys kind of getting these, that really is a testament of how hard you guys have worked and the quality of your product. So I'd say that you are doing things,
Yeah.
I assume you guys are told this all the time, but you are doing a great job.
Thank you.
So I have to ask, now that we've mentioned that, what's been the most exciting part of Beyond Senpai for you?
Most exciting? Okay. Well, like I said, I think Lady Beard sending us that email was quite a highlight. The thing is we've all kind of reached out to different artists over the last 2 years, because we've all got different likes. We all like different things. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've got bands and idols that I like that Tom's not as much into. Kelly's more into her J-pop and her cute stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's nice to be able to kind of just reach out to people that we want to work with. So like I've worked with Yuffie Sakamura a few times, Garuda, Melon Bataki Agogo. We've interviewed her. I love working with her. She's great. Yuffie is fantastic to work with. We've interviewed Saki, Double And, a couple of times now. She's one of my favourites. I love working with Saki. She's a joy to work with, an absolute joy, especially because she always likes to reply in English, which gives me a little bit less work. But I mean, that besides the fact, I mean, it's hard to say what's been the most exciting thing. I think going along and doing Hyper Japan in the summer, I thought was really fun. Kind of going along as press. We had press passes. We were like so excited to get our press passes, and like having people come up to us with the big checky board, wanting to know who we were and getting to hang out our cards, our information cards, and like giving out badges and stuff. It kind of felt like we've arrived. We're like someone. We are someone. Like we're the people. Come to us. Come and speak to us. I found that quite exciting. The fact that people will come over to us and say, "Oh, you're Tom from Beyond Senpai," or "You're Amanda from Beyond Senpai. That's really cool. I read this article." The fact that people kind of know who we are, that's a bit weird. It's like very low celebrity, but it's kind of cool that people kind of know who we are. That's exciting. So
that's amazing, and you get to have those experiences as a result of the work that you have done. So I need to ask the question of, when did you first discover your like for Japanese music?
When did I discover Japanese music? Okay, so I've always been a huge music fan. I've been listening to music since I was a kid. My mum got me into a lot of metal and rock and stuff as I was growing up. I was on my way home from a night shift in 2016, and I can't even remember what radio station I was listening to. I was listening to the radio on the way back from a night shift, trying not to fall asleep in the car, and they played 2 songs by Baby Metal. They played Gimme Chocolate and Doki Doki Morning. And I just remember listening to this noise in the car, and I had the windows down and the wind was blowing in my face. And I was listening to this and I was going, remember this name, remember Baby Metal, because you're going to forget this after you've gone to sleep today. And you need to find out what the hell you've just listened to, because what was that? What did I just listen to? What was this? So it's like I went home and I went to sleep and I completely forgot about it. And a couple of weeks later, I was like, who's that band that I was going to look up? And I Googled it. It's like baby something. Baby Metal. So I've gone onto YouTube, Gimme Chocolate. And I just kind of sat there like everybody who ever watches Gimme Chocolate for the first time and thought, what the fudge? What is happening? Why is there this amazing metal and then these 3 cute little kids jumping about on the stage in tutus? What is happening? What is happening? And then it was like, right, I've got to watch Doki Doki Morning. Then I had to watch Megitsune. Then I had to watch the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And then the next thing I knew, my YouTube feed was just sending me Baby Metal all over the place. And then the biggest mistake of my life happened was when I found out that they were playing at Wembley and I had a ticket in my basket. And then I thought, nah, I'll see them another time. And I didn't go.
Oh, bless you.
talk about that for a great. I've only been listening. I've literally been listening to them for about 3 weeks, and the tickets went on sale. And I thought, nah, I'm not that into them. How much do I regret?
Oh, have you managed to see them in the time since?
Yeah, I've seen them quite a few times since then. So yeah, I was made up for it. I never got to see Yui Metal though, sadly. She had buggered off by the time I got to see them live, which is a shame. But do you know what? It doesn't take away from the stage show and the experience and the queuing. That's something that I had never done before. I've been to many gigs, and like getting there at 9 o'clock in the morning just to hang out in a queue was never something I had done before. That is now a new part of my life.
Oh, wow,
and I don't know if that. I don't know if that's just if that's like something that we just do in the Japanese music community, or if other music communities do it. I never did it when I went to see Dragon Force or The Offspring or NoFX or anything like that. I just kind of turned up when the doors opened and went in and enjoyed the gig. But now it's like part of my day is to get up there as early as possible and hang out in the queue.
Yeah, it's because, yeah, I mean, I think that obviously people, I think, are used to kind of queuing up possibly in time because they want to get to the front or things like that. But I think with our communities, there's nothing better than kind of turning up way ahead of time so that you can just speak to everybody, you know, get to see people and, you know, potentially have a drink depending on where the gig is or whether you have, obviously I don't know how Wembley would have been. I imagine that would have been absolute chaos. But there really is something to be said. It's kind of like when I imagine when a lot of events and stuff take place or gigs and stuff, but ours always seem very much like it's an event. It's a big event. You kind of, even though you know the gig's not till the evening, you always get to wherever it's being played. You always get to that city by midday, and you spend the whole day kind of just getting to see everybody, catching up on everything, and then you have the gig and then the after party. So just absolutely cannot recommend it enough to anybody that's interested in Japanese music who has not yet been to see a gig. What's been your favourite gig? Would it be a baby metal gig, or?
Oh, favourite thing. Highlight has to be Metal Matsuri in 2019. That was just probably one of the best weekends of music I've ever experienced, from beginning to end. The bands, the music, the setup, just hanging out with everyone. I had such a wicked weekend. I was so sad afterwards. I had such bad post-gig blues after that weekend. And I was introduced to so many new bands that weekend. There was a lot of bands that I didn't know, hadn't heard of, and I'm really glad that I got to see them. And now some of them are some of my favourite bands, like Bloodstained Child. They were my band of the weekend, and I listened to them very, very often. I had them on in the car this morning, taking my boy to school. So, so trying to pass it on to the next generation. I think he secretly enjoys it as well. But when we get to the school, he always asks me to turn the music off, which I get quite offended by, because I'm like, you were enjoying that 30 seconds ago, and now I've got to turn it down. You've got all this to come, Matt. You have all this to come. You will scoff now, but your kids will be doing that. They'll be enjoying your music, and then they'll be going, turn that off, Dad. Don't embarrass me.
Oh, they already do now, but I fully understand that, and I don't think it's any testament other than I remember I did it to my mum. I remember when I'd be dropped off at school, I'd always be like, "Can you turn that down?" And I'd always just kind of like every day I'd sink lower into the seat as we were driving into the school. So my mum has great music taste, you know, but at the time I was just like, "Oh, this is too loud. You're making a scene.
Yeah,
I can't be dealing with this."
He's absolutely mortified by me, especially with my pink hair and stuff. So he doesn't even walk with me in town anymore. He walks about 10 feet ahead of me, and I'm like, "Oi, what are you walking up there for?" "It's just because I walk fast." I'm like, "No, it bloody isn't. Come back and walk with your mother."
Kids just can't handle the fact that the parents are cool. That's the biggest issue, I'm afraid. Kids just don't know how to deal with it. They think there's no way you could possibly be cooler than them.
Yeah, exactly. But I always say to him, "You've got a cool mum. Just remember, you've got a really cool mum." I think I'm a cool mum. So
yeah. You know, not everybody's mum's getting emails off of famous Japanese artists.
Did she get an email from Lady Beard? I don't think so.
so she can fuck off.
But yeah, Metal Matsuri, absolutely 100%. All the baby metal shows have been fantastic. I actually travelled over to Tilburg in the Netherlands to see them when they did their European tour in 2020. Literally, that was the busiest week ever. So I travelled over to Tilburg and I saw baby metal on the Monday night. And then I travelled back to the UK and then saw Ninganisa on the Friday night, which was an incredible gig. That's definitely a highlight for me. Probably one of the best bands musically I've ever heard, and ever had the privilege to be at a live show of. And then saw baby metal again on the Sunday in London, and then the world stopped. Then COVID took over, and that was kind of the end of it. So that was a good busy week. That was a highlight for me. This year again, Hyper Japan. That's been a highlight. Bride Ear were fantastic. Oh, Maximum the Hormone back in June, May. They were great. I managed to find myself a little stool up near the bar with a good view. And I just watched the mosh pit for a whole hour and a half, wishing I had been in there and also thinking, yeah, your back can't take that anymore, Amanda.
That's it. We are only mortal. We are mere humans.
It was quite a wicked mosh pit as well. And after the show, I met Paul Woodhead outside, and I went to give him a cuddle to go, oh, bye. And he's like, yeah, don't touch me. You don't want to touch me. I've been in that mosh pit for an hour and a half. You don't want to hug me.
I'd say you had
I do feel like I missed out, though. I would have liked to... Pardon?
No, sorry, you continue.
I was just saying I would have loved to have been in that mosh pit, but I'm too old for that shit now, so...
I'd probably say that you definitely had the best place. If you were by the bar, then you had the best seat in the house, 100%.
I had a great view, yeah. It was a superb view, and I managed to plonk myself down at a table with this couple, and one of them was Scottish. I was like, only I could find the other Scottish person in this crowd, so obviously just attract one another.
That's good. So whereabouts in Scotland are you from?
So I'm from Kilmarnock, which is in the west coast, in Ayrshire, the home of Johnny Walker's Whiskey and Robert Burns and Kilmarnock football pies. So
I absolutely adore Johnny Walker Whiskey. One of the previous guests on Gary, we spent pretty much that whole episode talking about whiskey and Johnny Walker in particular. But now, dude, that's amazing. Oh, did you find? Because I suppose when you started to get into Japanese music and stuff, I suppose there wouldn't have been that social kind of issue about it because of obviously at which point in your life that you kind of came across it. How did you find when you started getting into it? Were you able to find a community immediately, or did it take some time?
Okay, so I had been listening to baby metal for a while and managed to find a couple of baby metal fan groups on the Facebook, and kind of got to know a few people on there and stuff like that. And then I started listening to a channel on YouTube called Static Age channel, right? So they do music reviews, and they had done a couple of baby metal reviews, and then they did a review on Mutant Monster, and I was like, oh, this is definitely up my street. This is a band that I could like. And so I started kind of listening to them, and then they came on tour. I was like, yes, right, I'm going to go to that. They only played in bloody Margate, which is just up the road from me. I was like, perfect. So I've joined the event page, and the boys messaged me. Andrew and Pete. Everybody knows Andrew and Peter. So they messaged, oh yeah, we're going to be there. Like, they're the friendliest people ever. They were like kind of my first friends in the community. So they were like, oh yeah, we'll meet you at the gig. And then another guy called Gavin, he was like, oh, I'm going to be going to the gig. I was like, oh, cool. Where are you travelling from? He's like, oh, from Folkestone. I was like, oh, Folkestone. I was like, do you want a lift? And he went, oh, yeah, that would be really cool. I was like, you're not a murderer, are you? And he went, no, I promise not to kill you. So I picked him up, and we drove up to... They
always say that.
Huh?
They always say that. And then they murder you.
Are you going to murder me? So we went up to Margate Ramsgate to see Mutant Monster, and we met the boys there. We met Andrew, Pete, who else was there? I'm sure someone else was there. I'm sure somebody else would have been there that I knew. I've got COVID brain. But yeah, so we went up to the Ramsgate Music Hall, which is not a hall. It's a fucking tiny little house with a little tiny bar upstairs and then a little tiny stage. Basically, it looks like the front of a house. And you literally go in a front door and it's a venue. It was awesome. It was great. It was superb. So they were the first Japanese band that I got to see live, was Mutant Monster.
That is amazing. They are one of my favourite bands. I remember it was so strange how I came across Mutant Monster because I'm not into social media or anything like that. I'm on it, but I absolutely hate the stuff. But the community and stuff is amazing. But when I was younger and when I got into Japanese music, there was a podcast called Gaijin Kanpai. And it was run by three American hosts who were just hilarious. And one of them I kind of kept in contact with because I just used to spam them. I was like a crazy fan. I was like, dude, I love that episode. Like this. And funnily enough, every now and again, I'd always reach out and be like, oh, what bands do you recommend? What you listen to now kind of thing, years after the show had finished. And he kind of gave me a list. And on there was Mutant Monster, and he said, I really like these. And so I remember I was in a pub in town, and I was kind of looking through, and I started to listen. I thought, wow, I really like that. Like, I love the energy, I love the sound and stuff like that. And I don't know, and something kind of possessed me to just kind of like look it up. And it turned out that they were playing in Huddersfield 4 weeks later.
Excellent. And basically, what happened to me.
And it would have been about 2017, and I was just like, "Oh my god, what is all that about?" And it was just amazing. But I love that band. What was I going to say? I was going to say. So around that time, you've said that you kind of started to get into baby metal. What was the progression in the music? Because I feel like everybody always can kind of chart a course to, like, musically where they got to where they did or where they're at now.
I mean, I come from kind of a punk rock background. I listened to a lot of ska, a lot of punk, a lot of skater punk, that kind of stuff when I was younger. And I mean, I've said this before on other podcasts, like, before I found the Japanese music, Japanese alternative music, I kind of felt like nothing new piqued my interest. There was nothing that was kind of coming out from any bands in the West that kind of made me think, oh yeah, this is great. This is what music should be. And it wasn't until I started listening to Japanese music that I kind of started listening to better bands, I think. So
yeah. Next thing I need to ask is, now that we're all very familiar with kind of what you do in your part in the community, what do you do when you're not working on Beyond Senpai?
Oh, okay. So I'm a radiographer. I'm a diagnostic radiographer. I take x-rays. So I take photos of people's bones.
That's amazing. You say that kind of so nonchalantly, like that's not a very intriguing job.
I like it. I'm quite geeky for it, to be honest with you. So I'm actually a qualified reporting radiographer, which means I get to diagnose your X-rays. So I've got them smarts.
Wow.
Yeah,
how amazing is that? Which would you consider your actual job? So I would say Beyond Senpai, and then working for the NHS or private.
Yeah, I mean, I actually feel very blessed that I've got a real job that I love. I actually really like my job. I think I'm really good at my job, and I look forward to going into work most days. I mean, it's shit sometimes, and a lot of people complain about the NHS. We're doing our bloody best. I promise. I promise we're doing our best. But I really enjoy what I do, and I don't know if I'd keep doing it if I didn't. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I put a lot into my work, and I feel like I make a difference. And I think I kind of feel sad for people that don't enjoy their work. Any job, really. Do you know what I mean? I think it takes up such a big part of our lives. We should at least bloody enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. How you say there that everybody's given, like, a lot of people are giving stick to the NHS. I think the only people that give stick to the NHS are people that don't actually know what you do, and they're very much people who I don't believe would be able to do that job either.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we deal with a lot of stuff on the front line, and especially over the last few years with the pandemic and stuff, we've had a lot of upset people, poorly people, pissed off people, and they just want to be seen. They want to be made better. They want to feel better, and we want to make them feel better. And sometimes wait lists are long, and sometimes GPs are shit, and sometimes you can't get through to them, and sometimes you get given the wrong information, and it's rubbish when that happens. It is really rubbish when that happens, but more of it works than it doesn't work, I would say. And I really believe that. I really believe that things are better most of the time than when they go wrong. And no one ever reads about that. You don't see that in the Daily Mail. They don't tell you about the good shit. They just tell you about the long wait times, and this person had a bad experience and they cut my leg off. It was the wrong leg. And do you know what I mean? Not that we cut off wrong legs. We try not to do that. But
hopefully not in your department.
Well, that's because we have to mark them correctly, and I'm pretty good at putting the correct markers on for the most part. But we are only human, and we all make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just making sure that you fix the mistakes that you make. I've not killed anyone so far, so I'm quite pleased about that.
I'm touching the wooden countertop as we speak for yourself, but mate, I obviously can't see, but you've been doing an amazing job. I think the problem is that there's so many people that are saying, of course everybody would love to be seen, the minute that they want to, but that's just not how things work, and a lot of it's out of your guys' control. And so I'm sorry if you've had to experience any kind of negative attitudes for something that really is not your fault, and none of you would put yourselves into that position. So, we do our best, and sometimes our best isn't good enough for some people, and it's a shame when it's that way. But like I said, I'd like to think that we do more right than wrong. So, and you will. I think more, of course you will. And I do think that more people in the UK appreciate us than don't appreciate us. Do you know what I mean? Like, you will definitely miss the NHS if we weren't here. You would definitely miss us if we went to the American system where you had to pay for everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know a lot of people that I pay into a private health fund now and I get to jump the queue. And it's like, yeah, that's all well and good, but you're kind of feeding into that, I think. And I think when more people start doing that and start paying for private health care. The thing is, it's like, see, when you pay for private health care, it's NHS staff that are dealing with you. Yeah. That doesn't get mentioned, does it? That doesn't get mentioned.
Do you know what I mean? It's like when you pay for a private MRI scan for however much that costs. See, when you pay for that, you're getting someone like me in the NHS that's scanning you. You're not going to there's not that many private hospitals with diagnostic departments in it. You're still, these surgeons and radiologists, they're all going and working in the NHS the rest of the time, and then they're coming and they're taking all your money with the other hand. And if you want to pay for that, that's fine, but you're not getting a better service. I promise you, the doctors are the same. They just walk across the car park to the private hospital. Sorry, am I just whistleblowing the NHS? Shit.
I'm writing all this down. I'm writing all... No.
It's not the NHS.
It's amazing that you're so passionate about it, and I can understand because I have not done your job and I've not worked for the NHS. I couldn't possibly imagine the amount of stress and the amount of pressure, and that's why I think it annoys me when people get so down on the NHS, because it's kind of like, well, you can't pretend to know what their jobs are like. You cannot pretend to understand that level of, you know. And these are the same people that get really, really frustrated if a queue in the checkouts is taking too long. So imagine the pressure that they would be facing in a job like yours. So I think these people are, you know, they're fucking idiots, aren't they?
We do our best, so can't do any more than that. So
absolutely. And thank you for the work that you do. In case nobody else tells you on a weekly basis. Well done. Right. So now I want to ask plans for the future. Can you see, where are you wanting to take Beyond Senpai?
Where would we like to take Beyond Senpai? So I'd like to do more video content, but I don't know how to video edit. I didn't know where to start. So any of the videos that we have kind of put together, Kelly, for the most part, has edited those. She seems to be quite good at that. Tom's quite fancy with the video editing. I don't have the brain for it. I've got the gob for it, but I don't tend to have the brain for the kind of the technical aspects behind it. So I'd quite like to maybe start doing a little bit more of that, maybe in the new year. And I'd like to get more fans involved as well. I'd like to get more of the community writing, making videos, coming on and doing reviews, that kind of stuff, which is kind of what the whole point of Senpai was anyway. We've had some really, really great guest writers in the past. Rosie from the Netherlands, she's written some really wonderful articles that literally get read every day, because when we go onto our website, we can view all our stats and stuff, and you can see which articles have more traction than others. And Rosie's article for Wagaki Band, that gets read every day. Every single day somebody reads that article. It's a great article, and I'm always telling her that, and she doesn't believe me. You need to believe me, Rosie.
Well, that might feed into a question that I was going to ask, which is obviously for anybody that has not discovered Beyond Senpai and has not travelled to the website. I was going to ask the question of, is there a particular post or review or anything that you would recommend?
From the back catalogue, definitely Rosie's Wagaki Band review is fantastic. I think, like, I think obviously, I think her articles and our interviews have definitely gotten better since we started, because when we first, like, the first interview that we put out, we were like, how many questions do we do? Do we do 5? Do we do 10? Do we do 20? How many's too many? What do we ask? Do we ask stupid questions like, what's your favourite cheeseburger? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what kind of quality do we want to have from the questions that we ask people? And I do think that it's much tighter now. I think that we ask much more probing questions now than what we maybe did before when we were kind of all new to it. And definitely having Kelly on board has improved our writing quality. She's definitely inspired me to be a better writer. That has been helpful. I've done quite a lot of editing for other people. So I edited all of Rosie's articles. I lost the will to live editing Andrew's article that was basically a block of words. I love you, Andrew. I'm sorry, but you need to learn how to use punctuation, please. Just a comma. Chuck one in every now and then.
Oh, bless him. Take note, Andrew. Take note. You listen to a master.
I mean that in the nicest possible way, because he can then, like, improve his writing. And he's so passionate. Andrew is like one of the most passionate writers that we've had on Senpai. When he writes his reviews, his Love Bites article was fantastic. It was just a pain in the butt to edit because he didn't use punctuation. And that's fine. That's fine. We're not expecting everybody to be like a super like writer or whatever. It's all about being creative, and we can help you with the editing. We can help you with the proofreading. That's what we want to be able to do to try and get more people wanting to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, like, go if you've not read anything from Senpai, definitely go back and read some of our earlier stuff. Read our fan and like our guest articles. They're always really good to read, because they just kind of give you a little window into what people are really like and what people are into. I find that quite exciting.
Definitely, it's been absolutely. It's been fantastic to kind of hear the work that you've been doing and the work that everybody's been doing from yourself, who is obviously, you know, one of the creators of, because I think sometimes everybody obviously has an opinion on things, and it's very, very seldom we ever get kind of like the opinion of the creator. So thank you so much for kind of delving into that and explaining things with Beyond Senpai. It would be amazing, obviously, to see you guys create video content in time, and to obviously see you guys grow and have all these amazing experiences that you're going to. Once the gigs start coming back, and a lot of things, obviously, we try to move past the pandemic, because it still kind of feels like we've not fully recovered yet in terms of, you know, experiences that we're able to have. So hopefully, you know, eventually we'll get those times again. Before, because we'll start to wind it down.
Yep.
You mentioned about kind of when you kind of pose these interviews. So now I have to ask you, what's your favourite cheeseburger?
It's my what?
What's your favourite cheeseburger?
I can't hear what you're saying, Matt.
Oh, sorry. I said, you mentioned about kind of like not wanting to ask silly questions, and you said about what's your favourite cheeseburger.
All right, yeah.
So
what's my favourite cheese? Oh, yeah. My favourite cheeseburger. Oh, I'm really boring. I like a veggie burger. I don't really eat a lot of meat. I'm not a vegetarian, but I'm a little bit fussy when it comes to meat that other people has prepared. I will indulge in a dirty McDonald's from time to time, if I've had a few drinks. But usually, if I go out, I tend to have the veggie option. I like a veggie burger. Although I'm going out for Christmas dinner with work in a couple of weeks, and one of the vegetarian options, it was a veggie burger, but it's covered in macaroni cheese. Wow. Yeah. So I'm gonna have a cheeseburger that's got like macaroni cheese on top. I'm really looking forward to that.
Just seeing how excited you got by that has made me excited for you. So I hope you have a wonderful time with that. I'm sorry that the audio has obviously not been great.
It's okay, don't worry, it's fine.
That I can improve that. But mate, thank you so much for coming on. Is there any questions that you would like to ask?
It would be nice to see you keep doing this. It's nice to have you back. Oh. So it was very nice to get the mail from you inviting me on, and I just thought, oh great, Matt's going to be back.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It really has. Everything's just so chaotic and stuff, but it's lovely to have you on. I'm sorry it took so long. You know, I hope.
Oh no, not long at all. It's been fine. I can talk the ear off of anyone, so you'll rue the day that you'll invite me onto a podcast. Oh,
never. That is a skill. That is a skill. Not enough people have that skill, and I really appreciate it. Now that we're at the end, will you please do me the honour of plugging anything that you would like to tell our guests where they can find you online?
Okay, so beyondsenpai.com, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. I have been toying with the idea of an Instagram because I quite enjoy that. I'm Just Panda, Tom is on there, Kelly is on there. Read all of our articles, follow us on those social medias. We're on the YouTube as well, the YouTube Beyond Senpai. We do have some videos on there. It's just us kind of doing reviews, and I think there's a Bradia review on there. There's a few good reviews on there. It's good. So go and find us, follow us, share all our shit, and we will continue trying to put out content that you guys enjoy. And if anybody wants to write anything, if you want to write an article, if you want to do a review, if you want to show off your merch, send us an email. Send us an email, beyondsenpaiofficial@gmail.com. Send us a mail. We will put an article together and we will share the shit out of it. Be creative.
Fantastic. I love that. And to anybody that wants to do that, please do get involved. I cannot recommend it enough. Amanda, it has been amazing to have you on. Thank you so much for making the time.
You.
And it was fantastic to speak to you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was an Unsociable Hour. I'm glad that you could return again. I'm glad that I've been able to do this with such an amazing person. For people who have messaged me in the recent weeks, my plan is to, because I know that I don't have all of the previous episodes available currently on the podcasting platform, my plan is to eventually upload those to YouTube. Just so that those of you who want to re-listen to those episodes can. That will start to happen within the next couple of weeks. And I do plan to start a Twitter account for this podcast. That will probably be sooner rather than later. So by the time this is released, it's most probable that I will have had that. But I will put the link in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope everybody takes care.